So did they find your card?
No. I mean, I didn't have to pay for drinks, and I don't have to pay for drinks the next time I'm there either. That was promised to me.
Oh, they just told you not to worry about it?
He's looking for a while, and he's just like, I think we threw away your card, so don't worry about it, and I got you next time too.
Did you cancel it, or were you like, no one's gonna find it in the trash?
I mean, I haven't yet. I went to bed. I did that today. I probably should, yeah.
In case somebody really didn't lose it and they're just a scumbag
Right.
that thinks you're arrogant and was like, I'm stealing this fucking guy's car.
Yeah, to be fair, I knew both guys bartending, and I don't think
No,
I'm
of
not worried
course
about
not,
that.
but you never know.
Yeah, no, still need to cancel it because I don't want to pay for their fucking spending habits.
Maybe after the show. Anyway, what's going on? I legit forgot we were live for a second. We were just having a conversation there. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Awesemo.com NBA strategy show presented by No House Advantage. I'm Dave Loughran at Loughy_D on the Twitters, LOUGHY_D, joined by Adam Scherer at Ship My Money DFS. Jordan Klein producing the show tells me, it was before Adam even got here this morning, that Adam just was on one last night on Twitter, just going for it. What's up?
I didn't start it, so it's whatever.
No, you finished it though, right?
I'm good. I was bored. I had nothing to do, and some guy started talking shit. So
what are you gonna do? How about Mitchell Robinson last night? Like, obviously Taj played and everything, but was that the weirdest thing? The guy comes out, plays less than 2 minutes. It's like he intentionally gets himself in foul trouble and just disappears and doesn't come back with an illness.
Yeah, that was like the 8th thing that went wrong for me last night. So I didn't even know what happened like at the time. But then I saw a tweet about like Mitchell Robinson just came out fouled twice and never came back. And I was like, oh, well, I'm glad I wasn't like I had a decent amount of Mitchell Robinson, I think, but glad I wasn't counting on that because that was really frustrating.
Yeah, really, it was just weird is what it was.
Like,
yeah. It usually, and it's funny because Taj Gibson was down with an illness too, right? So the day before on the first end of a back-to-back, I don't know. And we didn't get the Taj Gibson news until lock anyway. It was 10:30 on the dot. So just a weird game. I had a bunch of over bets on Mitchell Robinson, which it was fine because at that point you knew you weren't winning them anyway. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
When I realized he wasn't coming back in the first half, I'm thinking something's wrong. Or it was just like Tibbs is pissed off at him for the foul trouble, but that didn't end up being the case. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Just really weird, but it's nice because that means his price will probably come down and people won't play him next game.
Yep. Oh, you should have seen the comments on my Odd Shopper betting video. Like terrible pick. Now, granted, they had no idea that he left with an illness. They just thought he randomly played 2 minutes. You know, first time watching.
How did you not project him for 2 minutes, Loughy?
Right. First time watching this guy's content. Really disappointed. I don't know, man. If you are playing DFS or betting and you don't have notifications set up, right? Like if you're not following what's happening in game or before the game, you're guaranteed to always lose.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like just guaranteed for people, you know, like for DFS purposes too. Like, oh, how could you recommend? Like, I'm sure you've gotten comments. You probably don't read them, but in your tournament thing where it's like, how could you recommend this? Meanwhile,
actually, to be fair, I do go back and read them occasionally, and they're like nothing but complimentary, and it's really weird.
Sure.
Like I still have not seen a negative comment on my tournament videos, which is weird to me. Like it's
good. That's a good thing.
But I feel weird when people are like overly nice, and it makes me uncomfortable.
I feel like the betting space is way more just toxic and cynical.
Oh yeah.
Because it's binary. Where with DFS, it's like you still have to have all of your other players have good games.
Right. Like most people in DFS realize that like exactly. It's not a one person thing, but like I still like, especially after I have a bad day, I usually don't go back and look if like everything I said was right, but I go back and look when it was bad and was like, oh, this is gonna be fun because people probably torched me. And like, I haven't seen it yet, which is strange.
Oh, you're a masochist. You only want to see the bad stuff.
Yeah. I enjoy it.
Yeah. And I think another reason for it too, is with something like that, we're talking about tournaments. A lot of them are low probability plays anyway. You're just trying to get leverage over the field on. With betting, it's, you know, minus 110. You know, it's a lot of them are 50-50 propositions.
Oh shit, we got Calvin Ridley in the chat.
Oh yeah. Man, what a story that is. Do you think he should be suspended?
I mean, do I personally? Like, no, but do I think the NFL should and did what they needed to do? Yes.
$1,500.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I had that conversation with like a lot of people on Twitter yesterday. Like, that's the potentially probably the most damaging thing to the NFL. So, like, yes, it was a non-issue, and anybody that gambles understands that like him placing 8-leg parlays is not an issue, but the public perception, and like Emmanuel Acho immediately showed that. Emmanuel Acho tweets out like game film from previous games and was like, oh, he might have been throwing the game here when he's like running the wrong direction after he catches a pass. Like that's the exact reason the NFL is just like, no, it doesn't matter the amount, it doesn't matter whatever. Like the reason he only got suspended a year is because it's a non-issue. But like the NFL has no incentive to just be like, oh yeah, I understand that it wasn't a big deal, here's a 1-game suspension. Like it's literally the worst thing that can happen to them.
For sure. All right. Well, we got
NFL should stop having DK commercials. No, it's you can endorse gambling on your game and say we can't have our players gamble on it. Like that's a very clear distinction.
Yeah.
Like that's another like ridiculous take. People were like, well, it's kind of fucked up that like the NFL has all these partnerships and they make money off gambling, and then they come down hard when a player gambles on their game. Like, how do you come to that conclusion that you can't like mentally distinguish that the public gambling on their games is good and the players is bad?
Why is it bad? I don't want to do this. This is me being Josh, and that's because Josh will just find a way to be like.
Josh is 100% on my side with this.
I know.
I already talked to him about it.
I'm sure he is, but he's also always finding ways on live shows to be on the opposite side of something.
Yeah, sure.
So, I mean, what Ridley did, whatever. Like, I get why they had to do it. And by the way, I don't really have much of an opinion on this. I honestly don't. I don't really care about it all that much. But
right, yeah, I personally don't either. I just, like, when I saw what he did and the NFL was like, you're suspended for a year, I was like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Like, that's...
No, you are right, though.
I personally don't give a shit. Like, I'm not looking at Falcons games, or like if Ridley played this year, I wouldn't be like, oh, well, I don't know if I can play Ridley in DFS. He might be betting against his team. Like, he didn't do anything like egregious or wrong, but it's public perception. The NFL can't just be like, oh yeah, well, we get it. You know, just here's a 1-game suspension. You know what? Like, you can't have people like sitting around the bars being like, oh, well, Ridley bet on the games last year.
Right.
What if he's just still doing it?
Yeah. Meanwhile, our politicians are allowed to trade stocks.
Oh yeah. I mean, obviously, absolutely ridiculous.
It's absurd. Like, if you think football, a player gambling on football is bad, I mean, that is one of the most insane things ever.
Oh,
when
yeah.
When you can craft policy to suit your financial situation. Like, I'm not getting into this, but I think honestly, I don't talk politics on the show, but you know as well as I do, anyone to disagree with this, no one disagrees with this. So it's not even political.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's not even like a political take. That's just like, how does this still happen?
Right. Exactly. All right. Hey, let's talk some.
Yeah, the Tim Donaghy situation was 100% worse.
Oh yeah. Well, he was actively
throwing games that he worked on. Like, the fact the NBA lived through that is amazing.
The guy was actively deciding the outcome of games.
Yeah, I actually think that if that were to happen now, it would actually be a bigger issue for the league, just because like gambling is more or less legalized now in so many places. Like, back then, you could at least get away with like gambling shady, and you do it through like Russian bookies and stuff. Like, and the NBA could be, just like, well, if you're gambling on the NBA and you got screwed because of Donaghy, like, you were committing a crime too. Now, like, with the leagues endorsing gambling, if something like that happened, it would be absolutely horrible.
Yeah, the NBA could have said, we don't endorse sports betting.
Right, exactly.
Now it's plastered everywhere, all over the stadium. And I think that's great.
So do I. I mean, the Verizon, or whatever it's called now in DC, has a sports book in it where the Wizards play.
I have a book back here called, where is it? I don't know where it is, but it was one just on like documenting how many different games have been fixed. Oh, The Fix is In, it's called.
Okay.
Interesting book for sure. But yeah, there's no doubt it's happened. God, I just saw myself on the screen. I need a haircut tomorrow.
Yeah, I was trying to get a haircut today or tomorrow, but my barber's not working, so I'm going to Nashville looking homeless.
I'm going tomorrow.
I mean, it's only been 2 weeks. I'm still fine, but I was trying to get
a 2-week guy.
What'd you say?
You're an every 2-week haircut guy?
I mean, no, I'm an every month haircut guy, but that's because I hate getting haircuts. Like,
gotcha.
Should I get it cut every 2 weeks? Yes.
Yeah, I'm like 3 weeks, 3.5. I'd be 2 weeks if I had to go out and not wear a hat every day for sure.
Well, that's like, yeah, I'm going for the final. I was like, oh, like, I'll look good for the final. I'll get it cut. It's been 2 weeks, and my guy's off Tuesday and Wednesday, so.
Right, gonna be a lot of ladies there.
Yeah, obviously, of course.
All right, let's talk some basketball. Hit that thumbs up if you haven't done so yet. Happy to have everybody with us, and subscribe to the channel. Just hit 74,000 subs, so appreciate you guys very much so as we trek through this basketball season. And if you want to join, hit join down below. You see all those badges in chat? all those different badges for how long they've been here. You get those. You get the free super chats each month, the custom emojis, and we'll always prioritize your questions and comments along with our Discord members. So let's do it. That's not actually Calvin Ridley.
I know, but like it's just funny to think about.
It'd be hilarious. That'd be so great if he's like, I'm just quitting football and team.
He's just like
baby.
he just like goes into random like gambling chats as Calvin Ridley because he knows nobody. Like the last thing Calvin Ridley would call himself in a YouTube chat is Calvin Ridley.
You want to, yeah. You want to, I want to know something, and then we'll jump into this. We only have 6 games, so last thing, right? Why? And actually, I'm not the one holding this up today. It's all Jordan Klein. Why? And maybe it happened and I just didn't read this part because I skimmed some of the like release and everything and the statement. Why wouldn't he just use a proxy to bet?
Well, and that's the like counter argument that people made to me on Twitter was like the only reason he got suspended was he did it on the up and up. He did it legitimately. And like I get that. It's one of those situations, you know, where it's like when you're in high school and your parents let you drink at the house because it prevents you from drinking somewhere they don't have control over you. Like that was kind of the argument people were making, and I get it. Like, wouldn't the NFL rather every bet that their players make be transparent as opposed to using proxies on like overseas sites? But it's not that the NFL actually cares. It's all a public perception thing. Like Calvin Ridley can make overseas bets anonymously. And yes, obviously that's not good, but nobody knows about it. The NFL doesn't care. It's when the NFL is just like, yeah, man, you used your name. People know you're betting. Like we can't have that perception.
Right.
So
like, did he sign up on DraftKings?
Right. Yeah.
Like provide
I'm curious
bill?
what book it was.
Yeah, it provides a utility bill and a bank statement. It's so crazy, man. It's so crazy, but I don't know. Even just a proxy to do it for him. It doesn't even need to be overseas. Just float them some cash, have them put it in their account. Right?
Right. Yeah. And that's like, I have no doubts that people are like NFL players are betting, you know, but it's just all about the NFL doesn't want to be able to like point to it and say like, here's the paperwork where our player bet on a game. Like they just want you to be doing it anonymously and
out of sight, out of mind.
Right, exactly.
No doubt about it. Yep, you're damn right there. I don't know. It's crazy. You'd think he would have had the resources. I get he probably was just bored and was like, screw it.
Yeah, he I mean, I think the really shitty thing is that he probably like obviously realized you can't bet on the NFL when you play in the NFL, but he wasn't with the team. He bet like $1,500 on parlays. He probably didn't really realize that like he still couldn't when he wasn't with the team, and it was just like, yeah, I'm bored, I'm gonna do this, and now he lost like 10 million. That's the part that sucks,
which is still really dumb. Like
it's very dumb, but I don't think he was like betting $1,500 on 8-leg parlays like nefariously. I think he probably
listen, you don't bet 8-leg parlays nefariously. I can tell you that.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like that's the last thing you're doing with inside information. So like, I think it was probably a really stupid decision that he just didn't even think about like the consequences. And now he's out 10 million, which sucks.
Yeah, he was already out. Anyway.
Yeah. I still need an answer on your back of the napkin protection. The phrase I think is back of the envelope, but for some reason I say back of the napkin.
I think back of the napkin makes sense. There is maybe there isn't. I'm sure there's back of some napkins. Like some of them have
some of them have a design on the front.
Like, yeah. Right. I don't know.
Yeah, I think the phrase is back of the envelope, but like you can also do it on a napkin, and I just threw it together and made it a phrase that doesn't make any sense.
You're right. It is back of the envelope.
Yeah.
I just looked it up. Yeah. I don't know. A similar phrase in the US is back of the napkin.
Oh, okay, good.
There you go. Wikipedia, trustworthy source. You got it.
Yeah.
Brooklyn Nets, Charlotte Hornets. Yo, Brooklyn needs
basketball.
Yeah. Solid segue there. Don't even say anything. Just go right into it. Brooklyn needs to win some games, Adam. And in 2 games with Durant back, they've fallen to the Heat without Butler and Lowry and Tucker. And then they just lost to Boston. They're 3-point favorites on the road here against the Hornets, though. Monster total in this game, 239.5. 5. No LaMarcus Aldridge here. Let's just kick it off with with the two big guns for the Brooklyn Nets in Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. We've seen KD put up, first game back, whatever, played 35 minutes, still top 30 actual points. Peripherals were lacking, got out to a little bit of a slow start, and then came in and just ripped off a big game last time out in that loss to Boston. But you're going to see big usage. He played 39 minutes. So just curious, like, we know when he's healthy, he's playing arguably the most minutes per game in the league. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it is definitely up there. What's a fair price for Durant right now, especially in this matchup?
I mean, a fair price is probably around where he's at 11-1. I think that you're not really looking at that salary and saying, like, oh, Kevin Durant is underpriced. Like, he was 9,900 the other day. He was 9,400 the day that I played a lot of him and he sucked, obviously, because that's how my month is gone. But like at 11-1, that's probably where he should be. He's still a little bit underpriced in terms of like his ceiling is massive, but I'd say he's pretty close to correctly priced now.
What about Irving too, in terms of salary?
He's probably a little bit overpriced, given that Durant is back. Like, he still has a massive ceiling. There's no doubt about that. But Durant just does so much in terms of both assists and usage and just everything on the floor that paying $10K for Irving, I think, is more difficult than paying $11K for Durant.
Yeah, I think so too. Kevin Durant this season, he's only played 87 minutes with Irving on and Durant, with Irving on and Harden off. I should go back to last year. When did last year start? Right around Christmas, right? Yeah. Christmas. So
if you just go to like October 1st last year, it works.
Yeah. There was this thing on Add More Funds where it was like it was including preseason at one point. I guess it doesn't anymore.
You can filter it on and off.
Yeah. So usage 31% in 802 minutes, fantasy point per minute 1.42. That's with Irving on and Harden off. So good numbers, but I don't know. Are they priorities today? Is Durant a priority?
I think Durant is. I mean, he's just he's one of the best players in the NBA, and it's a reasonable price in a good matchup. I think Irving's pretty difficult to get to. I'm trying to look now to see what he's done in games where Harden's been out and Irving's been in, because the thing you have to keep in mind is that they're probably going to stagger their minutes too.
Yeah, they have to, right? I mean,
it would be pretty insane if they don't. 21 games since last year where James Harden has been out and Kyrie Irving's been in. Durant's averaged 1.5 DraftKings points per minute, 30.8% usage, 28% assist percentage, about a 12% rebounding percentage.
What about Andre Drummond today with Aldridge out?
I think he's interesting because the matchup's really good. The price tag is reasonable. The concern I have is that they can still just use Nick Claxton as the backup and then close with Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
So I don't there's ways where Drummond still just plays like 20 to 22 minutes. And if he plays 20 to 22 minutes, you probably don't really want to be paying $5,800 for him at center. But if he gets 24, 25 minutes, then he's probably going to look pretty good. So I think it's really, really close. I'll be interested to see where the ownership ends up there.
Do you like anybody else for Brooklyn then?
Not particularly.
Okay.
Like the pricing on guys like Bruce Brown, Seth Curry, like Brown can certainly have a good game. So can Seth Curry. So can $3,900 Dragic, but none of them really look that appealing to me.
LaMelo's kind of interesting though, right? Because this game should stay competitive. Insanely high total. We're flirting with 240 here. His price has come down to a more palatable spot. You haven't really seen those ceiling games out of him recently, Adam, but at the same time, it's there. My biggest thing is like, okay, 8 minutes in that game with the foul trouble. And it's not like he couldn't have come back and played more than 8 minutes, even though he had foul trouble. Very strange. 30 minutes the game prior to that, of course, they got smoked. And then against San Antonio, 29 minutes. Remember earlier in the season, we saw LaMelo Ball's minutes that were, sitting in that high 20, low 30 range. Should we have some concerns that we're seeing his minutes scaled back a little bit, or is this just a blip on the radar?
I mean, I think it's somewhat concerning because it's kind of like I was talking about yesterday with Mitchell Robinson before he played 2 minutes, but like talking about Mitchell Robinson and Jaren Jackson, it kind of applies to LaMelo too. If you're paying $8,700 for LaMelo, you know that foul trouble is pretty frequently an issue for him, and that's why he's not more expensive, like because it cuts into his playing time. But when he's not in foul trouble, you would like to be confident that he's playing 35, 36 minutes. If you're paying $8,700 for somebody and you're saying, okay, well, he gets in foul trouble a lot, and in those games he's not going to play, a ton of minutes. But when he's not in foul trouble, I still might get 30 minutes. Like, that doesn't make you feel very good. So I still think he's a very high upside play. There's nothing stopping him from playing 34 or 35 minutes. But it is concerning that recently, even in non-foul trouble games, he's been getting, low 30s.
Yeah, I think it's concerning too. Again, could he come up and play 36 minutes? Yeah, absolutely. But some concerns there that he won't. Terry Rozier is almost the same price as LaMelo right now. He's playing well, Adam. Decent peripherals, quality scoring totals. Of course, he's shooting really well on top of that, which is a little bit concerning, even though he's not a terrible shooter. And then you just have somebody like Miles Bridges, who you never know what you're going to get from Miles Bridges. This guy is one of those players that, he's dropping 19 or 50. So all of these guys, I think, are viable today, just given the conditions of this game with the high total, fast-paced spot. I don't know if you can really look at any of them and say, you really want to have these guys in your lineup, though.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much like there's definitely a ceiling on them, but the pricing is pretty much correct. Rozier at 8,200, he can go for 50 plus. He's done it plenty of times, but you're paying for that ceiling more so than his median projection. Same goes for Bridges at 7,900. I do think that LaMelo, Rozier, and Bridges are the three that look the best at their respective salaries. I think it becomes more difficult to get to Washington, Harrell, Plumlee, Oubre. So I think Ball, Rozier, Bridges are the three I get to first.
Des Moore said, since Calvin is suspended for 2022, maybe Awesemo should offer him a job. Imagine seeing Calvin on here hosting with Loughy and Adam. I was thinking about yesterday how many insanely, what's the word for this?
I don't know, because I don't know where you're going.
No. I'm just thinking here. Attention craving. I don't know. This insatiable need for attention. The amount of people on Twitter that were like, let's reach out to Calvin Ridley and get him on our show.
Yeah.
Like, first of all, what are you, dumb? He's not coming on to your show. Do you know how annoying that would be to be inundated with like, hey, come on my betting show that has 7 followers and we'll talk shop. It's like, I bet one 8-leg parlay, and he did because it was on his own account, right? The real gamblers aren't doing it on their own account. Do you know how annoying that would be to be? And Des, I'm not talking shit on you. I'm just saying in general, it's all over the place. Like people, I could get Calvin on my show. No, you can't. Will you stop it?
Yeah, I mean, think about how tilting it has to be. Like, you just lost $10 million because you got suspended from the NFL, and some dude with 400 followers on Twitter is like, yo, you like to gamble? Come on my podcast. Like,
for free.
It will benefit you somehow, which it won't. Like, what are we doing?
Right. Come on my podcast for free. Further tarnish your reputation.
Right. You have nothing better to do because, in case you forgot, you just lost $10 million. Come talk to me. It'll be great.
Furthermore, I know that you probably don't actually know sports betting.
Right.
But it won't matter because I'll get some views. And then people will instantaneously forget about who I am because next episode I have someone else on that you've never heard of.
Right.
That's how it works.
Yeah, it's literally just like, if people were being transparent, they would just be saying, hey, man, you just lost your job for a year. Come help me out with no benefit to you whatsoever.
Right. Like if you pull back the veil of what they're actually asking, that's what they're saying. Yeah. So let's do it.
Yeah. I assume he'll be on our show next week.
Yeah. Oh God. That would just be awful. Anyway, not him being on, but being him and have, because they're rolling in. I guarantee he's getting insane amount of requests.
I'd feel bad for you hosting the show with like Calvin Ridley and AB and just sitting there like, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about with these two.
Who, me?
Like, whoever, like I was thinking about an NFL show where like it's AB, Calvin Ridley, and then like one of our hosts, and our host has to pretend they know what the hell they're talking about with regard to the NFL with those two.
Oh, yeah. I can host the show with anybody, but I know what you mean. But also try and like reel him back in to actually talk about betting and like the understanding betting, which is, I mean, yeah, dude, listening to AD break the game down or AB break the game down. A lot of times I'm like, all right, I'm along for the ride. You know what I mean? There's certain things that if you haven't played, you just, don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be something. Anyway, Cleveland and Indiana. Oh man. Darius Garland a couple of games ago, absolutely lighting it up, man. This guy, remember someone was saying in chat that we should be worried about his assist totals. Remember that? Last week? Well, he's got 29 assists over his last 2 games. So there's that. But also the biggest thing that you and I talked about when they faced Philly was there's no reason this guy should be sub 8K. His price has quickly come up though, man. He's at 9,000 now. And that's a lot, dude. What's up?
I was just laughing at something in chat. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot, but he's playing a ton of minutes. It's a good matchup against Indiana. He still looks pretty good at 9K, I think. Like okay. It's kind of similar to like what we were talking about with the Charlotte guys, where I don't think he's underpriced, but he has that potential to go get 55 DraftKings points, in which case you don't really care what his salary is.
Oh yeah, no question. And it's not that. What I'm saying is it's a significant price hike from where it was the other day, which crazy too, because he was 7,900 and he wasn't even popular. And now at 9K, he's getting like 15%. So
yeah,
I don't know, but it's a good spot against Indy. They're without Jared Allen too, though. Karis LeVert's also out. Kevin Love at this price point, how many minutes do we think he gets today?
That's a tough one. I think probably 28-ish. I assume Ed Davis is going to be in the rotation. Dean Wade probably gets in the rotation. I don't necessarily think that like Kevin Love is just going to start and play 34 minutes or something, but I do think that he gets up around 28 minutes and looks good at 5,800.
Okay. Yeah, and for what it's worth, not that this is a bad thing because he did play 30 minutes last game, but Chetty did start the second half last game in place of Jared Allen.
Yeah, I don't think Kevin Love starts this game.
I don't think he should, really.
I mean, it's just one of those where like he could, and then they stagger minutes, or they could just keep him in his normal role.
Yeah. It's such a weird lineup where like Allen, Mobley, and Markkanen, or Love, Mobley, and Markkanen. It's very big, but I don't know. I think he comes out the bench. I definitely think he can get the 30 minutes though. Like he did last game, right? He played 30. He played 26 the game before that. He got out of the All-Star break playing very limited minutes, and now he's played 26 plus in 3 of his last 4. So I get the Kevin Love ownership against Indiana today. I mean, regardless of whether you think he plays 28 or 30, Adam, there's no doubt that Kevin Love is in a very favorable spot at this salary.
Yeah, without a doubt. He was someone that, his playing time had been really volatile before, but when he got those 26, 28-minute games, he'd have good games at his salary. Now, it is pretty likely that you get that. For what it's worth, 4 games this year without Jared Allen. Ed Davis has played 18.7 minutes per game. Kevin Love in those games has played 7 games for Love without Allen. He's averaged 24.2 minutes per game.
Okay.
1.55 DraftKings points per minute, but I don't know who was in or out in those games.
Someone asked, where's the Prize Picks content? We have a Prize Picks video every day here on the channel. It's a pre-recorded video, but every day there's a Prize Picks video that you can find. What do you want to do with the rest of this team, though, dude? Like Lauri Markkanen, I'm dreading getting to Markkanen, and he's coming off a decent game as well. Still shot 3 for 12 from 3, but 22 points. Evan Mobley being another one. So what do you think do you think the starting lineup is going to be Mobley at the 5, Markkanen at the 4, Chetty at the 3, Okoro at the 2, and then Garland at the 1?
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
You heard me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure. You had a delayed response. I think that's probably what it is. Mobley at the 5 definitely looks pretty decent, though. Right?
No, actually, I'm just that good. I didn't hear what you said, but I had a delayed response. Like I was thinking about what you said, like I had heard it, and then I said I agreed.
I knew it. But you knew. But
I knew where you're going with it.
Okay, yeah. So
You were
basically, the
asking if I
same
think
starting lineup as the second half of
yeah,
last
yeah,
year.
yeah. I'll say you're asking if I thought that the starting lineup would be the same in the second half. I
Yeah,
think that it could be that you could get the Ed Davis, 18-minute start. Um, you could get Dean Wade starting. Like the only thing that I'm pretty comfortable with is that Kevin Love is coming off the bench.
yeah, I agree. I just think it's easy to shift Markin into the 4 and Mobley to the 5, is what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
yeah, yeah. I agree with that. And against Indiana, it doesn't matter.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good point as well. Talk to me about the rest of them though. Then Markkinen, Mobley, Chetty. Anybody else stand out to you?
If Chetty starts, 4,500 is a pretty decent price tag. 6-game slate, so like probably not going to be as value heavy as yesterday was. He'd still be risky because he's Chetty and he doesn't have to play 30 minutes, but 4,500 would look decent if he starts. If Ed Davis starts at 3,100, risky. I would project him for like 18 minutes in that case. But 3,100 is 3,100. I think that Love, Garland are the priorities. Markkanen, Chetty, if he starts, are fine. Evan Mobley should see increased rebounding, I would expect, especially, assuming that Kevin Love doesn't start. So you're getting some minutes where Mobley is out there, like without a true center. But
I was looking that up right now, by the way. I can tell you what the on and offs are in a second.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't know the numbers. My expectation is that his rebounding numbers would go up. He probably scores a little bit more since he's playing closer to the basket. But at 7K, I think he's still kind of just correctly priced.
It goes from 12% to 14.5%. So rebound rate. Not bad. And then so Mobley with Allen on 12.4%, with Allen off 14.5%. Not a huge increase, but enough. It should be decent. Anybody else for Cleveland? You want to talk about the Pacers here?
We can go to the Pacers.
All right. So you got Indy not really pulling a lot right now. Everybody, for the most part, is healthy. The only thing we're waiting on is like Chris Duarte and Lance Stevenson. Do you still want to go back to the well with some Malcolm Brogdon at his current price point, given that this guy is now he's seeing his regular minutes? And also, this is a Cleveland team that the interior defense is very good. They're allowing the highest 3-point percentage to opponents over the last 1+ months. So they really haven't been great against decent shooting guards lately.
Yeah, I think going back to Brogdon at this price is fine. I mean, he played 35 minutes last game. There's no reason, there's no minutes restriction on him. You can expect around 36 minutes. His production with Tyrese Halliburton is pretty similar to just his season-long production. So not a great matchup, but you do have a 110 implied total for Indiana. I think he's just a little bit underpriced.
Okay. Someone asked, what about Love without Jarrett Allen? Love has a 15.7% rebound rate in 476 minutes with Allen on the floor. So 15.7. If you take Allen off the floor, Kevin Love's rebound rate is 18.2% in 770 minutes. That's solid.
And what's he normally?
7. So almost 3% uptick in rebound rate. Not bad. All right. Anybody else for the Pacers?
Not really. Like Buddy Hield, Jalen Smith, Tyrese Halliburton, they're all kind of at price points where like they can do well, but they're not standing out. So it's more so just, low probability guys that you're mixing in here and there.
Let's talk about Phoenix and Orlando. By the way, thanks. We got 120 likes going. We have 534 people watching right now. So big things happening here on Tuesday morning. Appreciate you guys. Phoenix and Orlando, the Suns. And listen, dude, I think we've been saying this from the jump, and most people have been. This is not exclusive to any Awesemo shows, but Cameron Payne's a damn good backup. And at this price, now that he's played 36 minutes in that last game, he went from 20, that was a blowout. He would have probably played like 26 to 28, then 32, then 36. He's still $5,300. Okay. He's averaging 17 potential assists in these games. And one of them, he only played 20. Legit big double upside. I mean, I I don't really care what Cameron Payne's ownership is, particularly against Orlando, who's playing at the second fastest pace over the last month. It is impossible to get away from a guy like this right now.
Yeah, I completely agree. Especially, I mean, we just went through 2 of the 6 games on the slate, and even the guys that we liked were more or less correctly priced. Now you just get a completely mispriced Cameron Payne, and in general, a completely mispriced Phoenix team. There's no high usage guys on this team outside of Cameron Payne, so he's gonna do whatever he wants in terms of assists. He's gonna get up a bunch of shots. He just looks great at 5,300. I don't really see a way around it. It's pretty similar to Jordan Poole last night, I think.
Yes, I would agree. What did Poole end up with?
Who looked for a minute like he was going to somehow fail, but ended up getting there.
He had zeros across the board, I think, in the first quarter.
He had 1 steal and 3 turnovers in the first quarter.
Yeah,
that was his line.
Is there anything worse than, like, you were at the bar, right? I don't know if you were still there. It was pretty late at the time. Maybe
Jordan Poole sent me to the bar his first quarter.
Oh, okay. Is there anything worse though than, like, say you have some games up, but then you check a box score and you see the score and it's tight and you're like, okay, this team doesn't have a lot of good players, but they're hanging in there. And then you realize that the one guy that you really, really needed has just been completely blanked. I mean, it is a terrible, gut-wrenching feeling.
Oh yeah, it's horrible. Someone in chat said, how did Cam Payne go from worst player in the league to a great backup in like 2 years? It's pretty crazy. And him being good, I can't help think about Drew Dinkmeyer, because I wasn't in it, but I went to the NBA live final in 2016 in San Diego, and Drew played Cameron Payne in the live final. Cameron Payne like DNP'd or something. He was like a 3K backup and DNP'd, and I just can't help but think like how much it has to eat at him being like, because he got made fun of. He got made fun of, obviously, but like he was just half a decade early.
Yeah, Dink's one of the sharpest guys out there.
Oh yeah. There's not many people I respect in this industry, but he's one of
them. Cameron Payne, 1.17 DraftKings points per minute without Paul and Booker this season, almost 400 minutes, 29% usage rate. The thing that stands out to me though is when you look at the assist rates, you got Cameron Payne 38%. And then you have Aaron Holiday at 37%, but I mean, whatever. And Alfred Payton. But like, aside from that, the next closest guy is Jay Crowder at 15%. It's just, if Cameron Payne's out there, he is the guy that's bringing the ball up the floor. He is the guy that's orchestrating the offense, playing potentially another 36 minutes against the Magic, and you're getting him at 5,300. There's just no real wrong way to go about it, unless you're just saying, Adam, that, well, he's so high up, and maybe that's an argument. Do we have the boom bust updated yet? That would be interesting to see what his optimal lineup probability is.
9 minutes ago. Yeah. So
71% optimal lineup probability.
Yeah. He's projected for 79% ownership, and he's barely quote unquote overowned. 80% boom percentage. It's just a situation where I don't remember who I said it about the other day, but obviously he's really popular, and you're never wrong for just saying like, okay, well, I'm going to go somewhere else if somebody's 80% owned and like hope he somehow fails. But really, especially in NBA where, things are more projectable, it's a broken price. Like, it makes the game not as fun, but your options are basically, do I want to try and make the game fun and lose a bunch of money, or do I want to suck it up and play Cameron Payne because he's very, very clearly the best player on the slate?
Right. Do I want to try and play for a Cameron Payne injury or like significant foul trouble, basically?
Right. You kind of just have to accept like, yeah, DraftKings screwed up, and now I need to play Cameron Payne everywhere.
Even at 66 on FanDuel, he's the highest projected owned player on the slate.
Yeah, I don't have any issue with that.
Where else do you want to go, man? You're talking Shamet or Landry Shamet. Shamet. He was on the Sixers, and I could never get that right. People would always say it differently.
I say Shamet. I'm not sure what it is.
I do too. Jay Crowder, DeAndre Ayton, Mikal Bridges. You could just make easy and justifiable arguments for every single one of these guys, because Cam Johnson's also sidelined along with Chris Paul and Devin Booker.
Yeah, there's just a lot of really good plays here. Also, from a Landry Shamet tweet in 2015. Shamet rhymes with damn it.
Wait,
Someone asked him how to pronounce. Someone asked Landry Shamet in 2015 how to pronounce his name, and he said sham it rhymes with damn it.
With damn it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, Landry Shamet. But yeah, there's this whole team's just mispriced. DeAndre Ayton, the 6,600 in a great spot, sees a little bit of a bump in usage without Booker and Paul. Even if he didn't, like even if you just used his year-long rates, he would look good at 6,600, playing 30 to 32 minutes. Jay Crowder gets a bit of an assist bump. 5,100 looks good for him. Shamet looks good at 3,700, playing a bunch of minutes. Mikal Bridges doesn't really get any sort of bump, but he's still playing huge minutes. And anytime you're playing 38 to 40 minutes against Orlando, there's a chance to have success. So I think Payne, Ayton, Crowder, Shamet are the top four, but then like Bridges is still fine too.
What about Orlando? Obviously, we're waiting on Jalen Suggs with Orlando. He was a late addition to the inactives the other day. But aside from that, is Orlando a team, worth? And Wendell Carter Jr., for what it's worth, is not on the injury report. So he'll be back today after missing a pair of games. But is there anything right now, if Suggs plays, that's interesting to you, or if he doesn't play? And Fultz was out last game. He's not on the injury report either.
Fultz was in last game. He was out 2 games ago.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, okay.
So
Fultz, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's not a ton that I like here. I think the pricing's pretty much where it should be. Carter is 7,700. Like, yeah, he's got a high ceiling, but that's where the salary should be. Bamba at 5,500, kind of the same thing. Anthony and Wagner are fine. I do think Anthony gets a bump if Jalen Suggs is out. His usage rate and his assist percentage should both go up. If Suggs is out and like a $3,800 Hampton starts, you can certainly go there for value as well. But I think this is the least appealing team we've talked about so far.
All right. Easy enough for me. What's not unappealing is No House Advantage. Jordan, throw that up on the screen, baby. No House Advantage, bringing you an entirely different way to enjoy DFS. They got the player prop contest over there. It's 100% peer-to-peer to help level the playing field. You're not playing against the house, hence the name, No House Advantage. And when you sign up, you get $25 free credit by using the promo code Awesemo. Simple as that. All new users get a $25 deposit bonus with the promo code Awesemo. And if you're wondering what it is, it's not just your typical player prop site. You're making lineups, but there's no salary cap. You're just taking the props. The over, the under, no juice on either side. The ones you like the most go at the top of your lineup. They get the most points. The ones you're least confident go at the bottom. And similarly, they get the fewest points. The props are static too, which means throughout the day, they don't change. So you're going to get opportunities to find some really good stuff that you may not think there's an edge there, but there still is. People will miss that. Also, over at Awesemo.com, completely free, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, the No House Advantage projections and the optimal lineup tool to help you take down big prizes. You've got them. You've got Odd Shopper, which is free. You have our player prop projections. You can compare against everything over at No House Advantage. Take advantage of all of that. Use the promo code Awesemo, AWESEMO, and sign up today. Get your $25 deposit bonus. Use the free tools. Download it in the App Store, the Google Play Store, or simply go to nohouseadvantage.com. Check it out today. I think you'll enjoy it. No House Advantage, sponsor of the Strategy Show. All right. Let's talk about the New Orleans Pelicans here. They've been routing some teams lately. Obviously, they blew that lead against Denver the other day, but they've looked good. And at first, it was CJ McCollum, Adam, coming out of the trade deadline. He's still playing well, but now Brandon Ingram is crushing. Both of these guys are putting the Pelicans on their back, and should be a good game against the Grizzlies today. Do you want to pay for either of them or Joval?
Yeah, it should be a good game. I think those three are kind of just back in the category we were talking about with like Charlotte and these other teams where there's nothing wrong with going to McCollum or Ingram or Joval at their respective salaries, but they don't really stand out. But, McCollum's been very good since coming over. He has around a 28% usage rate, about a 25% assist percentage. He's playing 36 minutes a night. Ingram, we saw his rates take a hit initially, but his usage has been coming back up. His assist percentage has been coming back up to where he's basically got similar rates to McCollum. 8,500 for him looks fine. And then Joval should play 30 to 32 minutes. I don't think that like the Steven Adams matchup is necessarily an issue for someone like Joval because he is so capable of scoring away from the basket. All three of those guys just sort of look like, high upside players that you throw into a lineup, but that you're not really prioritizing.
Yeah, we did talk about it the other day where the assumption, I think we both said the assumption was that soon enough, like Ingram and McCollum usage will probably find a balance there. And I think it has. It wasn't just going to be McCollum doing everything while Brandon Ingram sat back. And now you've got both of these guys just really playing well. I think too, this is one of those games that might, and correct me if you think I'm wrong here, that might just be a little bit under-owned. I think it makes sense in context to the rest of the slate. Like if you're just looking at it for cash games or whatever, but this has a potential to be a high scoring game with a lot of big performances. 231.5 total, only a 5.5 point spread. Like you look at the Memphis side of things, and sure, I can understand why nobody's really pulling big ownership, but every single player on this Memphis team is in the single digits right now.
Yeah, and they're a pretty appealing team to get to when they're low owned because it's another team that I think is correctly priced, but that doesn't mean that there's no upside. I mean, John Morant obviously can just take over any given game. If Jaren Jackson actually gets to like 30 to 32 minutes and avoids foul trouble, at 6,800, there's plenty of upside there. Desmond Bane's salary has finally come up. And the one thing I have kind of been harping on Bane recently is the positional eligibility is really nice with shooting guard, small forward, but I think it's important to keep in mind he's playing like 30. He averages around 30 minutes per game. So I do think there's kind of a tendency for people to just say like, oh, Desmond Bane's playing 32, 33 minutes when that's typically not the case. But with those positions, it's still, a useful spot. Steven Adams has been playing out of his mind. He's getting a little bit more playing time as well. 6,300 looks okay for him. It's a bunch of guys that are like correctly priced, but that also have really high ceilings. And if you did want to, it's not something I typically do in DFS because there's just a lot of noise in it. But like if you're building one lineup or three lineups or whatever, and you wanted to play the game of like, okay, what if Herb Jones kind of straps John Morant? Good luck. But what if he does? Then it looks even better for guys like Jackson and Bane.
For sure. If you had to, say you're building tournament lineups, who would you say your favorite options are from this game right
now? Probably Joval at 7,500, and then it's kind of just always Morant.
Okay. Yeah, I'm with you. Steven Adams is there, but
yeah,
he's not.
He's tough because like he legitimately he's playing really, really well. And he's getting more minutes, but it's still so difficult to project him for like 30 minutes because
right.
He still averages like 27, 28 minutes for a variety of reasons. So with the price tag rising, it becomes difficult to prioritize him, but you're never going to be upset about getting to him in a lineup.
No, for sure. Massively low floor as well, just given his inability to score. I know he's coming off a 23-point game, but for the most part, Steven Adams is certainly not going to be getting there in the scoring department. Milwaukee Bucks and OKC. And I talked to you guys earlier about some of the tools, but just quickly, we have some free content on the site today. If you want to get in on that, you don't need an account. You don't need to sign up. It's free. NBA player rankings, PGA golfer rankings, NHL player projections, all free. And if you're interested at awesemo.com/join, you can check out everything else we have from, we were just talking about the boom bust tool, which gives you the, optimal lineup score, the boom percentage, the bust percentage, ownership projections. We have player projections, the top stack tool for, all of our other sports. Maybe baseball comes back. I don't know. MMA, UFC, PGA, NASCAR, esports. If they have contests out there, we got content for it. All these tools built by Alex Baker and Sean Zahn and Steve Buzzard. These guys managing them. They're some of the best out there, hands down. And I know one of them is in the live final, right? Steve's in the live final, or Sean's in the live final. Is Steve in it? Did Steve qualify?
Steve's in, Sean's in, Eddie's in.
Yeah, and Eddie works on that stuff too. Like Eddie might be, he's like the silent assassin with DFS. You know what I mean?
The live final is basically me and then all the nerds that make our projections.
Exactly.
I don't pull home.
Right. That should be a ringing endorsement. So whether you want, sometimes Adam can do a nice plug there. Look at that. That was solid.
Yeah.
Whether it's a weekly express pass for less than $5 a week, you want to do a month, you want to go all out, make an investment, go for a year, whether it's NBA or every sport that we've got out there, check it out, awesemo.com/join. And be sure to join our Discord channel as well. And you got guys like Steve and them in the premium Discord office hours channel coming in and answering your questions and helping you better your game. So across the board, it's the place to be. Hopefully you guys will come and join us. All right, Milwaukee and OKC. Let's get into this one a little bit. The Bucks 13.5-point favorites, 231 total here. No Grayson Allen from Milwaukee. Do you agree right now with this Jordan Nwora ownership? Seems high.
If he starts. So the thing with Nwora is his rates definitely take a hit when he plays alongside the starters, as you would expect. Like, he's the kind of guy that you kind of always caution about. He can be really, really productive when he's playing with other bench guys, but when he's playing with Giannis and Middleton and Drew, his rates go down. But at the same time, he's 3,100. If he slides into the starting lineup in place of Grayson Allen, that's a pretty good sign that he's playing 30 to 32 minutes. And you can, it doesn't matter that his per minute production comes down at 3,100. He's going to look great.
Do you think he starts? Like, what do you think the starting lineup could look like today?
It could kind of be anybody, like,
because there's no Connaughton, right? So
there's no Connaughton, but Wesley
there's no
Matthews,
DiVincenzo.
Matthews is off the injury report.
Yeah, he's
so, like, it could be Matthews, it could be DeAndre Bembry, it could certainly be Nwora, it could be Javon Carter. Like, the thing is, like, it doesn't matter for Milwaukee,
right?
They're not. They have all of their main pieces. They're not worrying too much about, like, it's not like you have to replace Grayson Allen's scoring or playmaking or anything. He doesn't do anything. So you can literally just throw anybody out there. And so it makes it difficult to, guess who it's going to be.
Budenholzer's going to go full out like Eric Spoelstra style and just start Serge Ibaka alongside Portis and start.
That can happen too. Yeah.
3. What?
That can also happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Good.
Yeah, I mean, one way or the other, I think Nwora gets more minutes. Like, you are taking, 24 to 26 minutes out of the rotation. And like you were saying, there's no DiVincenzo, there's no Connaughton. I think Nwora, even if he comes off the bench, projects for like low to mid 20s and could still be playable. But as far as the starting lineup goes, it's kind of, you could just pick a name out of a hat and it's not going to matter for Milwaukee.
So we'll keep an eye on that, obviously. You got locks before lock. You got the deeper dive, live before lock coming up later. You also have the No House Advantage strategy show at 3:30. At 2 o'clock, you got the NHL strategy show, all of that good stuff. So against OKC, they're huge favorites, but crazier things have happened, haven't they? And even yesterday, like, I laid 15 on Miami, Adam, and Miami was down 10 points in the first half at one point. I wasn't too concerned. They ended up covering that. But it was just another one of those spots where the blowout didn't happen until late. And you once again saw everybody get their normal allotment of minutes. So it's all possible. So with Giannis and Middleton and Drew and Portis, what are we thinking today?
It's a tough spot for OKC, but I mean, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander just does everything with Josh Giddey out. There's certainly, a very high ceiling there. I would pay attention to the ownership. I think this is like the third straight show I've said this, where like Morant and Gilgeous-Alexander are on the same slate. They're basically the same price. Pay attention to the ownership between those two, because it's just like a perfect example of two guys that are basically the same. Gilgeous-Alexander right now is projected for 15%. Morant is at 9. In a case like that, I typically just end up getting to a little bit more Morant, a little bit less SGA, but I think he still looks very good. He gets a bump in usage, bump in assist percentage without Giddey. Isaiah Roby, assuming he's back, is likely to give you 28 to 30 minutes if he can avoid foul trouble. Obviously, that's a big if against Giannis, but 5,300 for a point per minute guy that can play 30 plus minutes looks pretty good. Kokashevsky's price tag has increased. Baisley's price tag is up a bit. I think SGA and Roby are the two main pieces here.
Okay. And the main pieces for Milwaukee, factoring in ownership and salary?
If Nwora starts, he's obviously a good value. But all of Giannis, Middleton, Holiday, Portis look very good, I think, at their respective salaries.
Adam, you know what time it is before we get to this last game?
10:57.
No, but do you know what time it is?
Breaks of Cartman voice God.
Oh, come on. If you're going to do it, man.
I can't do it. You can do it.
Time for breaks of God. Fantasy sports fans, what if you caught a break with the potential to net a couple $100,000 with less than $100 investment? Yeah, those ears perking up, huh? Well, we've got great news because breaksofgod.com is the place to catch that break. Breaks of God is the latest sports card collecting trend to catch fire in America, and it's how sports card collectors of all ages are building high-value card collections without huge investments or risk. It's quickly become a popular and economical way for sports fans to get potentially high-value or rare cards without having to buy a $1,500 box or case themselves. From football to baseball and everything in between, there are many slot options available for under $100, so you can get in on the big money action. Breaks of God breaks dramatically increase your odds of getting. Let me do them right here. Breaks of God box breaks dramatically increase your odds of getting big money premium sports trading cards for a fraction of the cost of expensive, hard to get boxes. All of the cards are broken from sealed premium boxes live on Instagram, and the cards are shipped directly to you for free when the live break is over. Slots are limited, so act fast. And to learn more about how you can hit big money cards and get 30% off your first break, go to breaksofgod.com/A30, like Awesemo, A for Awesemo, /A30, breaksofgod.com/A30. Get 30% off your first break. Also, make sure to follow them on Instagram at breaksofgod. All right, let's close this one out, Adam. We got the Clippers and the Golden State Warriors. Warriors on the second of a back-to-back. We should have most of these guys back today. The line would suggest the same thing. There's no reason not to. We knew what Kerr was doing. What do you think of the Clippers, though, on the opposite end of this game, starting with Reggie Jackson, who, dude, his price point. Who you ever think you'd see an $8,600 Reggie Jackson on a team that's currently in playoff position?
No. I mean, I also didn't think until like the end of last season that you would see Reggie Jackson as like an actual piece of a good team ever.
And here he is.
Yeah. But I mean, I think it's a situation where he's pretty clearly overpriced. I
see that. We lost him. All right, then. Head over to Breaks of God and check out our free content too. NBA player rankings, PGA golfer rankings, NHL player projections. I can pretty much tell you what he was going to say.
He has all the opportunities to do well, but it's just tough to pay that salary. I kind of feel that way about.
Should we just let it go? Oh, there he goes. There he goes. We'll have him throw it in chat. Amir Coffey's around 12%. He's $3,600. Everybody else for this team is completely unowned right now. Terrence Mann's minutes are always in flux. And then I'll just throw this out there with Zubats 6,900 and Isaiah Hartenstein. We've seen this. We've seen Zubats go nuts. We've seen Hartenstein play 20 plus minutes, 21 plus minutes in 5 of his last 6, as a matter of fact. But it also is contingent upon Ivica Zubats getting into some form of foul trouble. So on the other side, well, we'll see what happens with the Golden State Warriors. Where's ownership on them? We'll just close this out, Jordan. We're at the end of the show. That was funny as shit, though. Kevon Looney getting ownership again. Everybody else isn't. If this team's healthy, it's really hard to get there right now. With Curry being the same price as guys like Kevin Durant, more expensive than Ja Morant, it's really difficult. And, Andrew Wiggins and Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson's price is continuing to rise. So shout out to here we go. Let's see if we get him back.
So
there we go. I was just saying how the Warriors are pretty tough to get to begin with. We didn't hear anything you said with the Clippers. So take a quick second, wrap this one up. It's not really a super intriguing game, but if there's anything that people missed that you think that they should hear, go for it.
I didn't have anything worthwhile to say. Basically just that the Clippers, I think, are one of the most overpriced / correctly priced teams on the slate. Outside of, hoping that Luke Kennard gets hot from 3 or Amir Coffey randomly has a good game, there's not much that really stands out there. Zubats' price is up, Hartenstein's price is up. we talked about Jackson being really expensive. So I think that's a pretty difficult team to get to. On the Golden State side, kind of the same thing. I mean, Wiggins, Thompson are fine. Curry is always fine, but like I would rather go to Morant or Gilgeous-Alexander. Kevon Looney at 4,300 is okay. This game in general is not that appealing when you factor in salaries.
Nope. All right. You could have stayed off. I said the same thing. Would have made, you could have just hung it up for today.
Oh, damn.
Anyway, yeah, Suggs did miss shoot around too. Game time decision.
Yep.
You got the tournament plays coming up?
Yeah. Tournament plays, injury report with Greg.
And I got the betting video over on the Awesemo, the Odd Shopper channel. Check that out today. Hopefully we don't have any Mitchell Robinson mishaps like we did yesterday. We're back at it as we always are. Check out Matt Kajeski's college basketball betting videos over there. They're great as well. Just a lot to take in, and catch us back here later today, Adam and myself, for the deeper dive. Before that, locks before lock, live before lock after that, and the No House Advantage strategy show at 3:30, NHL strategy show at 2. We got stuff all day long here. So follow Adam at Ship My Money DFS. You never know when he's just going to pop off. Follow me at Loughy_D, and shout out to your boy, Jordan Klein. Jordan, what are you on Twitter? Jordan D. Klein? Jordan D. Klein with a K. What's your middle name?
David. Damn.
Is it really? Oh, how about that? Can't believe you never told me. All right. We'll see you guys back here soon tomorrow on the, what? No. What? I couldn't believe you actually did. But it wouldn't be that hard if a sleuth really wanted to come in and find it.
It was my first guess.
It was what's your social and birthday? All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace. I couldn't believe